this image, I've done a little creative interpretation using HDR tone mapping. And my intent was to make the aircraft here, the subject of the image, just look a little bit more texturized. But when you do that, sometimes you make your clouds and skies look a little bit harsh. And this is the same would be true for any HDR landscape images that have lots of clouds. Sometimes they get a little bit strong. What I like to do in that case is to bring my image into Color Efex Pro 4. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Glamour Glow filter to smooth out that sky. And this can work on any kind of image. It doesn't have to be HDR, but in this particular case, it's a good application. So I'm going to go over to my filter list and I'm going to choose Glamour Glow on the left, and it gets applied in the filter list at right. Gets added to my stack. And the default settings for Glamour Glow are intended to be used in sort of portraits or glamour shot photography. That's why it's got its name. So what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to crank up the glow a little bit, and you can see how that creates a softening effect on the entire image. Now that's a pretty fun effect just by itself, but I don't want to smooth out the aircraft too much. So let me just boost up the saturation. And what I want to do then is restrict the effect to my sky, so it's just smoothing out the clouds. To do that, I'm going to use a control point. I'm going to click the plus control point button, and I'm going to just click it on the cloud. Make it nice and big. And then I'm going to hold down the Alt key or the Option key if you're on a Mac, and I'm going to click and drag this control point to duplicate it. So I've just added 3 large control points to the sky, and now you can see the effect is pretty much restricted to the sky itself. If you want to check your selection, a cool trick is to come over to the control point panel, make sure it's expanded so you can see these control points, and click the mask box here, and you can see in white what is selected. So you'll notice I'm selecting a little bit of the aircraft. So let me just go in and add a negative control point on the aircraft, and I'll put in a couple more so that it is not selected. And now I'm just selecting sky. So I can quickly do this by just hold down the Option key or the Alt key, click and drag on a control point. I make an exact duplicate of it. When I'm all done, I'm going to toggle off the mask. And let's compare that now before and after. There we go. And let's look at this. Okay, so on the left is our image as it came out of HDR effects. And on the right, you can see we've smoothed out the sky. So adding color effects, a little glamour glow to your HDR shots can give that slightly reduced harshness. It just softens up the edges a little bit, and it's a filter that I really like to use a lot.